seconds, we'll swap Becky and Kate. Rebecca will come next. Kate is the host of the RetroMetal Twitch stream, and she's going to give us a behind-the-scenes tour. Thanks, Kate.
Okay, well, hello, everyone. Video and audio are on, I think. Yes? All good. Perfect. All right. Hi, I'm Kate Szkotnicki. My stage name is Kat, and I am the host of the RetroMetal stream on Twitch. This would be on the BTS RetroMetal chat channel on Discord. So last year at KansasFest, I got the brilliant idea to try and stream from actual hardware. And it took me some time last August and September to figure it out. And today I'm going to give you a very brief overview of, let me sit up, of how I did it, the hardware I'm using, a little bit about the software. What I'm not going to talk about is, I'm not talking about branding. I'm not going to talk about like growing your Twitch channel or anything like that, but we can totally talk about that on Discord later. So I don't have a slideshow. I just have one picture to show you later. So things you need to think about when you're going to do this, and don't panic. I'm also going to put all of my speaker notes. I'll like take a picture of this or something on the Discord. I didn't want to do a slideshow because I want to actually be seen. So first of all, you need to think about what Apple you're going to be using, and that is dependent on what you want to do. Oh, thank you. I use an Apple IIgs. I would also recommend using an Apple IIc, or you need an Apple IIe with a sound card. The trick here is you need to be able to get audio and video out of your Apple. And a stock Apple IIe or stock Apple II Plus isn't going to do that. I'm using the composite video out of the GS, and I'm using the headphone jack on the GS. And then, obviously, a GS or a 2C or 2E isn't going to talk directly to Twitch. So you're going to need something that bridges that gap. And then you need a couple boxes in between. You need power. You're going to be, keep in mind, you're transcoding video. So you need, I would say, can it be done on laptops? Yeah, I know someone who does it on a laptop with at least 4 cores, quite a bit of RAM. What I'm using, and let me say, this is one streamer's journey. This is not the end-all be-all of how to do this. This is one cat's journey to Twitch pseudo-stardom. Your mileage may vary. I'm using a Mac Pro 2012 cheese grater. I tricked it out. It's the stock 4-core processor, but I tricked it out with 20 gigs of RAM and an 8 gig video card. So there's quite a bit of power for me to play with on that side. And that's what does all the work of translating everything and sending it up to the website twitch.tv, which is what I use as my streaming platform. The one thing you got to think about, though, and this is something I learned the hard way in your hardware setup, is if you want to have a CRT in your environment, a good microphone like this one, this is a Samson QDU studio mic, is going to pick up some interference from that CRT. Okay, so I cheated, and I'm running an LCD on my GS, and I'll show you how I did that in a second. But there are other ways to do it. That was my solution because it's what I had at the time. So, but I've got a GS and I've got a Mac Pro, and I got to get them talking to each other. And there's 2 pieces of hardware that I needed to get going to do that. And the first is, Alex already talked a little bit about upscaling, and you're going to need to do that. If you're going to get into streaming, you're going to need an upscaler. And the one I actually use is not, this is not one that Alex mentioned, but I found, this. And so I'm not obviously going to be streaming. I took a bunch of pieces out. This is the Canix Pro Con AV HD 4K. This does a great job. It'll take composite and S-video.
My clock's going to push half an hour. It's at 2:15 now.
It does require external power. And you want one that's, a good one is going to require external power. And it's got a bunch of different modes in it. I usually run at 720p just because I'm upscaling, but I don't necessarily need to be broadcasting an Apple IIgs at 4K. So this takes everything and turns it into HDMI. Once I have that HDMI signal, I need to get it into something the Mac Pro can understand and bring into whatever software I'm using. And for that, you need some sort of capture hardware. I played with a couple different capture solutions. I tried the Blackmagic Intensity. It did not like the upscaler. It did not like, obviously, the native Apple or any of my native consoles. So what I ended up on was this. This is the Elgato HD60S Plus capture system. It's a box. Literally, it is HDMI comes in. Signal goes out via USB 3 to a USB 3 card that I put in them. This is not technically supposed to work with the Mac Pro 2012, and it does. Elgato, the cat, exactly. It does work after a fashion in that sometimes it will kernel panic. If I try to hot swap this back in, it's going to kernel panic the computer because it's just it works, but it's not supposed to. This is the most recent version that they make. You can get older versions of Elgato. I started with a Game Capture HD, but the problem with that was it only worked in Windows, so I ended up having to boot camp my Mac into Windows for a while. I got that for like $30 on eBay, but then I decided I want to upgrade. This one is the only one that they make. This is the newest one that works natively on Mac. And it only works natively on Mac in Mojave and above. So just keep that in mind. If you're thinking about this and you're a Mac, you want Mojave, you want USB 3. And then it also has what a lot of gamers like is called pass-through. So this here says out. So it's going to take the signal and it's going to send it to the computer, but then it can send it out to another monitor for me to watch what I'm doing. And that's how I actually run it to the LCD monitor that I have sitting on top of the GS. To do that, I use this. This is another. I cannot recommend Canix Pro, and they're not paying me to say this, but I really like Canix's AV gear. I use this in my classroom before I used it here. This is a HDMI to VGA converter. So it'll take an HDMI signal. I didn't want to unscrew the thumb screws. And turn it into VGA, and it'll output, sound and video. So, and then the VGA, the other end of this VGA cable is plugged into the Dell LCD screen that I have, and that lets me monitor and play the game, and it's very low latency. Elgato, the nice thing about the Elgato stuff, it's made for gamers by gamers. It's designed for Twitch streaming, so it's designed for low latency pass-through. It's designed for, to play Twitch games in this way. So, how do I get the sound out? So that's video. That's the yellow. So how do I get the red and the white? The 2GS has a headphone jack in the back. I bought a $5 splitter for that jack on Amazon. And I split that jack. So I have a pin jack to red-white that goes into here. And then I have my headset, which is pin jack, goes into the other one, and that's how I get game audio while I'm streaming. This is kind of convoluted, I know. This is how I got it to work. And this allows me a great deal of flexibility. When I was first doing this project, I didn't want to just do Apple. I wanted to have the flexibility to do Nintendo or Super Nintendo or PlayStation or Mac, the G3 that I have. So everything I bought with the eye towards making sure that it would be useful across the board. So like if I want to play, when I'm streaming Final Fantasy VII, for example, to monitor the game audio, I'm plugging my headset into this. This has a pin jack on the side. And that's how I'm getting game audio while I'm playing FF7. Oh, thank you. So my Twitch channel, and there's a link to it in the Discord as well. But like I said, and then once I get it into the Mac Pro, I have to get it out to Twitch. You go to twitch.tv, you sign up for an account. There are a million videos on YouTube about how to get started with Twitch. The piece of software that I recommend is OBS, Open Broadcast System. It's free. It's amazing. It's very flexible. It's very scalable. It's pretty easy to learn, but if you really want to dig down into it, there's a lot you can do with it. And then the OBS, and it has Twitch baked into it. So thank you. It has Twitch baked into it. So you literally, there's a thing, Twitch, stream key, and it automatically, it'll find your nearest intake server. It'll do everything for you, and you're up and running in like 5 minutes. Can you do this? Can you do this in emulation? Yes. On a Mac, it's a little bit hard. I'm not going to get into that, but we can totally get into that on Discord if you want. Mac doesn't play nice with sharing audio between applications, so you have to do a little bit of playing to do that. Yeah, but I can totally talk about that because I have done. Yeah, post. Yeah, there'll be some time at questions at the end, and then totally you can post. And if you go to my Twitch channel, there's a list of all my gear. I have the specs for my computer listed. I have all the gear that I'm using to make this stuff happen. So every Sunday, I just sit down in front of my computer, and I do have a webcam. It's just a Logitech 720. Do you need a face cam to get started? No. Some people don't want to stream with face cam, and that's fine. It's the gameplay and the audio that you want to focus on. If you have good audio and good gameplay, you don't necessarily need a face cam. I like the face cam because I'm me, and I'm a dork, and I'm a recovered drummer rat. So hey, but you do not need. The video. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. Like I said, I see Jared asking the question that everybody asks me, and why didn't I go VidHD? And it is 100% for flexibility. The VidHD is a beautiful piece of engineering, but it'll only work in a slotted Apple. This will let me I've been doing PlayStation on this. I will do PlayStation 2 on this. This will talk to my Nintendo, my Super Nintendo. I think I can find an adapter. I'm working on getting it talking to my Atari 2600. Yeah, I know, boo Atari. Sorry, not sorry. But then you go into OBS, and then you can set up OBS. OBS could be its own talk, but you can set up different scenes. You can set up face cam. It's really, really cool. Let me see if I can bring that up real quick without it. Try to not crash the Mac here. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I'm going to show you, first of all, I'm going to upload this to the, are you seeing a schematic that I drew? I hope so. The chat went away. Where's the chat? I will upload this to the Discord, but this is just a very quick schematic that I roughed up of how this mess on my desktop is laid out. So this is kind of what I'm looking at. And I'm going to stop that share. And I'm going to. So this is what I'm looking at when I'm streaming. I'm also looking at a Twitch window. It's picking up my microphone because it's automatically. So I have everything is a lot of this is just static images. This is a static image. This is a static image with another static image that I did in GIMP. This is a static image with the camera laid over it. So you can do overlays, you can do underlays. This is the screen. This is what I'm looking at when I'm playing, except that there's a GS here, but the GS isn't turned on right now. The sidebar is a static image. The frame is a static image underneath the camera. So you can see I have different scenes for all of the different, so like if I'm PlayStation, I've got a different set of frames. If I was on PSP, there is no frame. Virtual 2, I think I haven't used that in a while. I think that's still talking to my old webcam. But all you have to do is you come up, you create a scene, you tell it what you want, you come over here, and then if I were to hit start streaming, it would start streaming. And if I were to hit start recording, it'll record. I always record a local copy so that for archival purposes, because a lot of times if you just export from Twitch to YouTube, it looks kind of bad. Oh, thank you. I worked very hard on the flowchart. So that is a very quick and dirty introduction to how I do what I do every Sunday and random other days during the week. But the one I do on Sunday is the one that I think this community is most interested in. And I think I've got about 10 minutes. So questions.
There's been a lot of questions about the hardware that you're using, but I suggest we take most of those to Discord since you said you already listed those over on your Twitch channel.
Yeah, if you look on my Twitch channel, there's a list of the microphone I use, the camera I use, the specs for my Mac Pro are on there. The current retro just says Apple II GS, I think. If there's anything that's not listed there, let me know, but I think it's all there.
You've already driven sales of at least one pair of the headphones that you have.
Razer Kraken Kitty Edition streamer. They also make a pair that lights up, but those are USB, so I couldn't use them because I needed the pin jack. How do I okay. Let me scroll through here and see. How do I recommend people build up their Twitch fan base? Networking. Meet people, promote yourself. I'm on several Discords that I post to. I post to my Twitter. I post to the Apple II fan Facebook page on Sundays. My other streams I post, depending on what I'm streaming, it's the same microphone. It is literally the same microphone. Depending on what I'm streaming, it determines where I'm promoting myself. What is my but promote yourself. Make connections, make networks. Twitch has this really neat feature called rating. So like at the end of my Sunday streams, usually Amiga Bill is streaming, so I send people over to him. And I've gotten a whole bunch of follows from his community. So it's all about network, and it takes a while. I've been doing this for just over a year, and I'm up to, I think, 120 followers. So it's slow growth. You're not going to be the next ninja tomorrow. My 11-year-old, how do I recommend my new microphone? My all-time favorite GS game to play? I'm not sure. I've been doing a lot of Total Replay. I've been doing online live bug fixing or bug hunting in Total Replay. I think really the only GS game I've streamed, like true GS game I streamed, was Task Times, and I actually did that on emulation and not in the real thing, because that was before last year's KansasFest. And yeah, the other thing I have is a YouTube, and make other content. A couple of people said I have a YouTube channel, also linked to on my Twitch channel, and I keep trying, and I have a blog. So I try to make content that is not just my streams. I'm not good at making video content, but I do like writing, so I started the blog. I'd love to see a stream on the Immortal. Tweet me. Why don't I have the Quartz keyboard yet? Because I want the Huntsman, and it doesn't come in Mac. Your wife is a YouTube streamer with 40K followers and growing. You do her marketing. Have her people call my people. It's a lot of fun. It's a hobby. I made affiliate, so I could theoretically monetize it if I wanted to. I kind of do, I kind of don't. Stream something you like. Have fun with it. I don't have a spouse. That's easy. I don't have a spouse. The cat doesn't care how much crap I have. Yeah, be consistent, have a set schedule. Yeah. I usually do about 2 hours just because that's kind of my on limit. I'm on like this in my day job for 7.5 hours a day. I'm a teacher, so I can only be on for, I'm used to being on for 90 minutes and then have some time down and then being on again for another 90 minutes. So I usually do 2.5 hours. How do I do video? I'm composite out into this. So this, the composite, and it actually looks really good. It's not too blown out. If you go to their Twitch saves your streams for 30 days, and then I archive mine on YouTube. So you can go back and look at some of the Ultima streams I've done, some of the total replay streams I've done. I use a CFFA. Darren, I use the CFFA. The video for my A2 looks good. Yeah, I was really impressed. This was not a cheap piece of hardware, but kind of like Alex was saying earlier, you a lot of times you get what you pay for. Like I was sitting here, I was super composite. Okay, yeah, I might have to do that. But this was not a cheap trip. Just this and this and this was a pretty good chunk of change. Yeah, Canix Pro is a really, really good make. You'd have to play with it, Scott. I'm not sure. Like I said, I was looking for something that would be a multitasker. Like the VidHD is a beautiful product, but it's a unitasker. It only works for one thing. I like multitaskers because then I can use them for like a lot of, and then somewhere in this mess, I have a VGA to HDMI for like the G3 and stuff. But so that exists also. If you want to get into like old Mac streaming and you can have VGA output, then, or if you have Plum and Scalar and you want to use VGA, there are VGA to HDMI. And again, it's the same thing. Pay more than $5 for one. Look for one that's powered because it's going to give you much better results. Any other questions? Apparently I have 5 minutes. Yeah, a couple people told me to buy a FrameMeister. I did not have $350 to buy a FrameMeister. The microphone is a Samson Q2U. It is actually, let me see if I can bring it up on the screen here. It is USB and XLR. So like the next thing I want to add to this rig is a soundboard. So I'm doing less sound in OBS and more sound on a external board. So this will actually allow me that flexibility to move up to a soundboard and not have to buy a new microphone. Yeah, this is a really great mic. It came recommended to me from another streamer, and I'm very, very happy with it. I started out using the boom mic on my headset, but I found that I needed something with a filter like this. One of the things that you learn is how not to pop when you're saying like P's and T's. There's a whole science to how you speak into a microphone so that you don't blow out your listeners' ears. Any other questions? I have heard of the Booty, yeah. I have the CFFA. I was lucky enough to get it on the last run, and it works for what I'm... Oof, yeah, that's more money. No, Antoine, the headset is a Razer Kraken. I'll post the link in the Discord channel to the headset. How many working Apple computers do I have? Lots. Where do I have my levels set? It depends on what I'm streaming. So it literally, my levels change whether I'm on the Apple or the PlayStation or something else. So I can't even tell you what the levels are because they change every time I change devices. I would love to find a way to rack things. but I'm a rental. My favorite Apple II is probably the 2C, and that's because that's what I grew up with. It's my baby, right? Not the one I grew up with, but the one I got at KFest. Yay! Yeah, Javi. Yes, Javier has brainwashed me. That can happen, but not with a microphone. You just need to get a speech coach. I do like the GS though, just because of the ability to play more games, the 16-bit games. Slobs, I've had issues with, and I worked so hard they did not have slobs for Mac until just a couple weeks ago, and I really don't want to go through and spend the like hours and hours I have dumped into OBS to remake everything in slobs. If anybody has any other questions, I am going to be around all weekend. Since I'm on the committee, I'm going to be on the Discord pretty much all weekend. So post your questions on the Discord, DM me if it's something weird that you don't feel like asking in public. And I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks everybody. And tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, I will be streaming. So if you want to check out how it looks, link is in the Discord. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate.